Hello, and welcome to our fifth and final week in our 2025 All Church study on A Praying Life by Paul Miller. I'm so glad you're here, and I've been praying that this has been a helpful study for you, that you've been able to grow in your conversations with the Lord and get connected to some new friends or old friends as well. Our section this week is called Living in Your Father's Story. Man, there is so much here. I wonder if you've ever heard of main character syndrome. That's a social media term that people use when someone is accused of acting like whatever is going on, whatever's happening, is all about them. And everyone else is secondary. It's easy to get into a mindset where what's happening in a given situation is all about me. I am the main character in my own story. It turns out I am not. God is the main character in my story. God is the main character in your story, too. When I make that mindset shift, I am on the way, with the Spirit's help, to a healthier life as a Jesus follower. I'm not inviting God into my story, He's inviting me into His. Miller says that prayer can help us get that perspective more clear in a really beautiful way. On page 154, Miller has a picture of what he calls the good asking road. And I think it's super helpful. I have actually returned to this idea many times in my prayer life when I felt frustrated or just not just not great about how my praying is going, and it helps so much. He says that there is a good asking road, and that there are cliffs on either side of it that you can fall off on. If you fall off on the despair side, you really have this sense that you don't have the power and everything is completely out of control. That's a scary feeling. And the focus becomes on how the other person or the situation can't change. Very focused on how they aren't making the change that needs to happen. And the role of prayer, it's kind of nothing. It's like you've given up. Now, on the demanding side, that's the other side of the road that you can fall off on. In that one, it's like I have the power and control. And my focus is how on the other person or the situation needs to change. I'm very focused on what needs to happen. And the role of prayer, well, it's just another weapon in my battle, using God to make happen what I think needs to happen. So if I'm not in despair and I'm not demanding, what's the good asking road? Miller says, in the good asking road, God has the power. God is in control. My focus is on Him. I live in His presence with my disappointment. I talk to Him about it. I begin with my own need to change. Lord, where in this situation are you trying to shape me? And then finally, the role of prayer is completely central on the good asking road. I pray to a personal God, so I am simultaneously asking and surrendering. Remember last week? Ask boldly and surrender completely. But what about those prayers that go unanswered? I know you know the ones I'm talking about. Earthly healing that doesn't happen for someone I love, children or other relationships that are estranged, long-time struggles that never seem to find a solution no matter how much you pray for them. What does Miller have to say about that? Well, he answers that with a couple of great chapters on lament. It's chapters 22 and 23. Lament is talking to God about the broken things in this world. It's grieving the state of things with the Lord. Miller points out that 1/3 of the Psalms, all of the book of Lamentations, parts of Job, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and the minor prophets are filled with lament. So if that's true, why do we struggle with it? You know what? Listen to this. Here's some word from the Psalms that are laments. Psalm 6. O Lord, rebuke me not in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. Heal me, O Lord, for my bones are troubled. My soul is also greatly troubled, but you, O Lord, how long? Turn, O Lord, deliver my life. Save me for the sake of your steadfast love. Or here in Psalm 10, talking to God. Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? Or here in Psalm 13, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? Miller says we read those Psalms, but we rarely pray them. Why do you think we're so uncomfortable talking with God like this? Miller says it's because we started thinking like Greeks instead of Hebrews. We learned the value of toughing it out, no complaining. It's called Stoicism. Here's how Miller explains the difference on page 182. The Greeks called this ideal Stoicism. A Stoic would never make a whip to clear out a temple or wail over Jerusalem's coming destruction, like Jesus did. Corruption and war were simply accepted. The early church rejected Stoicism, but the church breathed its air for centuries, affecting how we still think and feel today. A Stoic would consider a lament inappropriate, too emotional, too aggressive. The Israelites lamented because they longed for a better world, the way the world is supposed to be. They believed in a covenant-keeping God, one who keeps his word. That's what makes laments so passionate, so in your face. When you lament, you live simultaneously in the past, present, and future. A lament connects God's past promise with my present chaos, hoping for a better future. So on the cross, Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He connects the utter chaos of his life with the love of his Father. That connection is nuclear. Miller says, those unanswered prayers, these unfair circumstances, these broken relationships, this is part of coming messy to Jesus. Talk to God. Lament. Grieve with him. Finally, Miller shares a tool in part 5 that has been really helpful to me, prayer cards. And he gives specific directions to use these in chapter 29. And I just want to, if it's something that sounds good to you, it's worth a try. We always have to be a little wary of systems because they can become rote or unmeaningful, but they can also help. A routine helps. It's a bridge back oftentimes. The main thing with systems is to find what works for you or what you will do. One of the trainers at the Y one time, I asked him what the best workout to do was. He said, it's the one you'll actually do. And I thought that was good wisdom for lots of things. So prayer cards can be a way of keeping track of God's story. I have my deck of prayer cards here for you, here with me. I carry it in my regular bag, my everyday bag, so that it's available to me if I'm having wait time or some found minutes. I can just take a couple of minutes and pray through a couple of the cards. He says he puts short phrases on his prayer cards, and he talks about putting the word to work. So for each person or situation that he prays for, he puts a Bible verse on the card and prays that verse over the person or situation. And if you have trouble finding that, that's a real easy Google search. So If you have an idea what you'd like to pray for somebody or something, you could do a Google search on Bible passages for anxiety, or Bible passages for children, or Bible passages for health, or something like that. He says his cards don't change much. Um, and he doesn't usually write the answers to the prayers, because when he's praying through the cards so regularly, he knows how they were answered, and it's a big encouragement to him. Sometimes he dates the requests, and so uh, then he kind of knows when he started praying for a particular thing. I'm just going to tell you about a couple of mine. I do keep this card in my card deck, which is the good asking road. So, not despairing or demanding, God has the power and control, focuses on God and where I need to change. Prayer is central, simultaneously asking and surrendering. And I have Luke 18:1 at the top of there. Pray always and do not give up. Those are Jesus' words. This is a card for my godson, and I have his name there, and I have baptized and beloved child of God. And then the Bible passage that I pray over him, and the God of grace will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. 1 Peter 5:10. I pray that he has an identity in Christ as a beloved. I pray for his particular schooling that he's in part of, for an internship, that he would have good friends and be a good friend. I pray for his future spouse and for his future work. I also find prayer cards really great for when I sign up to be a high school prayer partner. So I have a card for my high school prayer partner this year. It has her school on it. The Bible verse I chose is that she would know and rely on the love God has for her. And I actually put her name into the verse. I have her school down and her birthday. Um, her mom shared some things that I could pray for her, so I wrote those on the card so I could remember. I have her picture on the back of the card, which they gave me. And then one other card I'll share is, this is a sin that I struggle with, is jealousy or contentment. And so I pray over that, and the Bible passage I use there is, trust in the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And on this card I have contentment, gratitude, asking the Lord to give me those gifts. I have another Bible verse, rejoice with those who rejoice, so that I don't spend time focusing on what somebody else has, but I rejoice with them. And also FOMO. I have a big problem with the fear of missing out, and so I regularly try to turn that over to the Lord and ask for contentment. Looks like I have 3 Bible verses on this one. Be content with what you have, for he has said, I will never leave you or forsake you. I find the prayer cards to be just a great tool, and I want to encourage you to try. If it sounds good to you, again, what's most important is you do something that works for you and connects with you. As we near the end of this study, my hope is that you will continue to feel welcomed and invited as you are. All your hopes, your hurts, your joys, your challenges, your brokenness, welcomed by a loving Heavenly Father into a daily, minute-by-minute conversation. It's an adventure of relationship with the one true God who is for you and in you. He is so good. Now it's time for conversation. Enjoy.